We want to talk about the auto meeting scheduler.
So, you may use Calendly right now or HubSpot's tool or whatever, but I just find there's a lot of ping pong going on, as I mentioned earlier, between the customer and the rep. Hey, can you meet then? Can you meet now? And so we want to show you something to remove the back and forth emails. Think about it. How many times have you lost the fish on the line because you just haven't been able to schedule that meeting, right? And then maybe there's delays, or in many cases, there's cancellations. So the quicker we think you can get interest to meeting, the better. Anyway, take a look at this one here, if you will. Aaron's going to show you.
Yeah, so to add on to what you're saying, Rick, I manage a lot of outbound sales teams, and I found that with our outbound teams, prospects don't always want to schedule their own meeting, right? They don't want to start doing things for the salesperson before they're ready. So what this does is this gives the sales rep a way to actually completely automatically send that prospect the available meeting slots from their calendar. For example, the team member gets an email, meeting is confirmed, send me some times, okay? That data is then forwarded to the parser. So we forward again, the parser is the trigger, or an inbox is a trigger. What our automation is going to do is it's going to get the available meeting slots from our calendar via API, whether that's Google Calendar, Outlook, or some webmail calendar. Then what ChatGPT will do is it will evaluate the raw meeting data, okay, from here, and it will identify the available slots within the calendar, and it will actually pick them out 1, 2, 3, right, or whatever the number is that you choose. Then what we are doing is we're doing a second step with ChatGPT to actually create the response. So like a human written response going to the prospect. And then the automation will automatically send a response via email with the available times. So let's go ahead and test this out here. Okay, so let's just use the same email that we have here, okay, that we forwarded initially. This time we'll look at John Doe's inbox. So I'm going to forward this to my automatic calendar schedule email. Okay, so I have auto scheduler, right? Another Zapier inbox that I'm just using as my parser. I'm going to send that. So this one will take a little bit longer, simply because there are multiple different AI commands that have to happen in the back end and automatically. So just
That's
to
okay. So the one thing here, Aaron, I think people are probably wondering, if I'm a sales rep, like how much control is this thing going to automatically fire back 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you want to set at times? And I think what you're showing is that the sales rep would receive the email, would forward it to the parser, the automation, then the automation would take over from there. Is that correct? To then respond to the customer?
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. So
It does have the opportunity in the middle. It just gets away from the back and forth, rep, check and schedule, all these manual steps.
and you can gear your requirements however you want, right? For example, you can tell the automation or the AI that give the prompt to actually say look over 5 days, or look over 2 days, right? Or look however many days you want, and you could say present 5 different times or only 2 times, right? So let me just check here. We're done. Okay, so here's my email. Okay, so I'm in John Doe Law Office email, right? I can see I just got a response. Hi, John. Great to hear you're interested in managed IT services. I'm just going to zoom this in. I'm more than happy to discuss this further with you. I have a few slots open over the next few days. November 2nd, right? 10 a.m. to 10:30, 11 a.m. to 11:30, November 3rd, 9:30 to 10 a.m. Please let me know what time works for you, or alternatively, you can book a time that suits you using this link, right? So if they're not scheduling a time or saying, hey, this works for me, they can actually just use that Calendly link. So there's some things I want to share. Did you have something to say, Rick?
Yeah, I was just saying, so somebody may be thinking right now, okay, why would I not just respond to the guy with my Calendly link and say, hey, John, here's my Calendly link, book a time kind of thing. What's the benefit of this automation versus kind of just responding with Calendly link?
A great question. Again, the biggest thing I found with outbound sales teams is a lot of the times a prospect doesn't want to click the link and book their own time, or, they're strapped for time. So they it's like, hey, book a time. The guy's like, I just don't have the time. And they forget about this email. So what this does is this checks both boxes to ensure the conversion of the prospect to a book presentation is at the highest rate possible. Now, a couple of insights here is that once the prospect responds, okay, they say, hey, 11 a.m. works for me. We can actually have an automation that listens to that email and then schedules the time in the rep's calendar completely automatically. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second thing is all those message that you saw can be customized completely based on your company, your branding, your messaging, right? You can add additional automations. I mentioned that to book the meeting. For a larger team, the more meetings that are booked on a daily basis, the bigger the impact on time savings and efficiency. And then lastly is that automation can be chained together like with the data structuring to automatically add the data to the CRM or add them to a nurture, an upsell campaign, right?
Here's a classic example. It happens right now. If the reps are using Calendly, by the way. So the rep would respond and say, okay, here's my link. Let's book a meeting. What we're seeing from a sell to win perspective is we're saying, okay, wouldn't you be better off while that exchange is going on, maybe within the messaging saying to the customer, by the way, before we meet, here's a popular ebook on managed IT services, or you might want to check out this recent webinar on cybersecurity, because those of you that are, we'll call it more astute in terms of digital marketing, you understand lead scoring and some of these things that evaluate where the prospect is in the funnel. And we think we can kind of hypercharge that exchange, not just to be improve the percentile of customer booking a meeting, but have that customer a little more educated or sold, if I may say that, on your organization prior to the meeting.
For sure. Definitely. And it can be the message, the outgoing message can be completely customized based on what that engagement within the email is.
Yes, with the spirit and personality of your business, dead serious. We like to be lighthearted. There's all these types of flavors that go.